This is a Future Sight podcast, episode 1. If you're over 40, you should retire. So there's this idea that I have that, well, we know the marketplace is getting smaller, more things are getting automated. So there's going to be less jobs or less need for the human workforce. So the human workforce is going to shrink. There's going to be, we're still going to have a lot of people that's going to need the ability to make money, so that way they can, pay bills, eat, and all that stuff, and function in society. But they're going to have less opportunities when it comes to the workforce, specifically to earn income. So then you have to go into alternative means of making income. Like selling stuff on eBay, podcasting, right? YouTubing, doing anything online that can help you generate income, investing in the stock market, and so forth and so forth. So there's going to be a lot of things that's going to change for years I've already been working towards the goal, the concept of early retirement, the concept of making passive income as the job. Your job will be passive income. Work from home will be the future of working. Because before that, right, it was always funny that, not funny, but the idea that people, will be told, hey, go get a job, go do something, right? Go get a job. And it's going to get to a point where that's not going to be a common phrase, to go get a job. Instead it's going to be go do, make money. Go do something and make money. Get on your phone and make money. That'll be the future terms, right? That'll be the way people express. That's how you'll speak to your children. You'll let them know, hey, start saving your money. Start, investing and this and that. You'll be teaching them how to make money online. The school's going to be teaching how to do things online. They're going to, more computer-related stuff is going to be happening. How to use, how to do video, how to do audio. Like this is going to be the future, where it's going to be more and more online stuff than physical stuff, because we're going to be having stuff like 3D printing, and robots assembling things. So you won't need a factory workforce, when you can literally have a factory that's automated. So that's less jobs there than trucks or any mode of transportation. They can transport things from point A to point B will be automated, because it'll be cheaper that way to automate, have stuff move itself. If you have a big giant box full of stuff, it's better to use a service that can move that box from point A to point B automatically, as opposed to having humans involved. Because, there's certain aspects of being human, right? You can get sick, you could get lazy, so then you call out from work on purpose, and the list goes on and on of, problems with humans working, right? Plus just the greed of companies, the fact that they want to make more money, so they want to pay their workers less. They want to pay so little. They obviously want the workers to work for free. And we'll see if that ends up being a thing in the future, where you do work for free. Because that could be a thing where we all do work for free, as in we don't get paychecks, but we do have what we need. Like we have food, roof, all that stuff. Like all that stuff is already provided. So we'll see what kind of future that creates. Because I wouldn't be surprised, 10, 20 years from now, we end up not having to work to pay bills and to have a roof over our head and food and all that stuff. Because we already have all that stuff provided for us. The only thing we'll do stuff for it, get credits or something, or Bitcoin or something, right? Will be for like luxury items, like Netflix subscriptions and stuff like that. Delivery services. we'll be using money or Bitcoin, right, cryptocurrency. We'll be using stuff like that for those types of things, for those luxury items, things that you don't need to live, but they make life a little bit more fun, right? Be able to travel, pay through Bitcoin, and so forth and so forth. So that kind of concept. But right now, I noticed that there's a lot of people that are able to make, passive income, able to make money without working, without having to put a lot of effort. And a lot of them have a lot of money saved up. I do notice most of them don't put the money in places like CD accounts, high yield savings accounts, or investments, or into real estate or whatever. Or, you get the idea. They don't put their money. Most of them don't put their money somewhere where it makes money, because if they did, then they wouldn't have to work for money, right? Because they already made money, and their money can make money, and that's good if they do that. But most don't, and they keep working and working. It's like, but what's the point of continuing to work when you already got to the point where you don't need to work? You actually can just retire, just live your life, just do whatever you want for free without expecting compensation, considering the fact you already have more than enough money saved up that can be used to generate money. So, in the stock market and whatnot, for example, or savings accounts. So why waste, time working? And, there's some people who try to justify it. It's like, I like doing this. It's what I want to do. But at the same time, it's like, but it's something that's normally done for a paycheck. You don't need a paycheck. And there's people out there that do need a paycheck, that they're not in your position where they could just work just because they feel like it. There's people who need to work just to live. You already have the ability to just live. So it is very selfish to hold on to a job, especially if it's a job. It'd be different if you were like the CEO of a company. Then yeah, you don't have to. If you want to keep doing that, be the CEO. All right, keep being the CEO. But you can't pass that job over to somebody else, so that way they can get a paycheck, and you just live off your royalties, interest, shares, whatever, however way you make your income. Because that's the thing, once you get to a point where your money makes money, you don't need to keep working. Because right now you're just taking a job away from somebody else who could use it. And that's unfortunate. And that's the thing. I notice a lot of people are selfish. There's people who are still in their 60s working, flipping burgers, McDonald's and stuff. And it's like, you shouldn't be there. You should be retired. And some young 18-year-old, should be working there as their first job, so that way they can get some job experience. But you're there in your 60s still flipping burgers, and it's like, there's something wrong here. Something went wrong. That shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't be old and still working. That's what I'm saying. If you're over 40, because by the time you get to 40, for example, you already was in your prime. You already did your youth. You did your education until you're 18, right? And if you went into college, you did your 4 years there. Then you're 22. And then from 22 up to 40, you're in your mid 20s, going to late 20s, right, doing things. Then you're in your 30s doing things. You should have achieved financial security by then. And by the time you get to 40, you should be more than ready to retire, because you should have had a lot of money saved up, because you were saving it, investing it, putting it, looking to other ways of making money. That way you don't have to keep working. It makes no sense if you plan to work like a 9 to 5 past 40. That's a problem. The world has, through modern, is modern, right? We're in a modern world right now, so things have changed where it's like you don't have to work until you're 65, right, and retire. You can work until you're 40 and retire. That's the way it should be now. But a lot of people are just still trying to stay working. There's some people who are in their 50s working. There's some people in their 60s working. It's like, but you shouldn't still be working. You should have done everything you need to do when you're young, to make sure when you're past 40, you're not working. That way you can live your life. There's a problem if you think working a 9 to 5 is your life. Then you're wrong. in your life you were definitely told the wrong thing. You definitely was manipulated into believing that a 9 to 5 or a career, a job, is your life, is something you're supposed to do until you can't do it no more. It's like, no. You work until you don't have to work anymore. And you're supposed to be working towards that. That's supposed to be your goal. You know, definitely should have a lot of credit cards, right? Should have a lot of savings, investments. Should have different streams of income. Shouldn't just be relying on just your 9 to 5. And definitely shouldn't be holding on to it, for dear life. Because that's a problem. That means you're not doing what you're supposed to do, and now you're stuck somewhere you shouldn't be stuck in, because you should always be upgrading. You know what I mean? If you start working at McDonald's, for example, you're not supposed to stay there for 20, 30 years. 1 year, 2 year of work at McDonald's is reasonable, and then work your way up and then find something better. Go from flipping burgers to an office job, go from an office job to running your own business to retirement, logical stuff. You're supposed to be upgrading, you're supposed to be improving. The older you get, the wiser you're supposed to get, the smarter you're supposed to get. You shouldn't still be flipping burgers in your 60s as if you were an 18-year-old. That makes no sense. Not only did society fail you, because society should have been encouraging you to do better than flipping burgers at McDonald's, you failed you. And that's even worse. Because to a certain degree, technically, society doesn't owe you much of anything. They don't owe you an awesome life. But you should owe yourself an awesome life. You should want an awesome life. And if you don't have an awesome life, that is your fault. You have yourself 100% to blame for why you didn't do better. When there's obviously opportunities, there's knowledge, information out there. We have YouTube, we have Google. There's no excuse for anyone to not improve in life, to not find ways to make more money. So that's why it's like, if you're over 40 and you're still, working a 9 to 5, something went wrong, and you need to start evaluating your life and start fixing it. Start seeing why you are where you're at, and see if you can go to the next level, right? Improve. Your goal should be to retire sooner the better. Because if you keep working, especially if you're doing physical labor, that's going to take its toll. And you're gonna regret that when you're old. It's like, oh man, I'm old and my whole body aches, and I'm in a wheelchair, or I need a cane, or I need a whole bunch of pain medications. Yeah, that's because you kept working. You didn't stop. You didn't find a way to make income, a way to have money to live, so that way you can live. You just kept working, and that became your life. So it's important to, think about others, right? The world tends to be pretty selfish. A lot of the problems of the world is selfishness. You have people literally over the age of 40, definitely over the age of 50, still in the workforce, still doing jobs that are typically meant to be filled with the younger generation, so that way they can get work experience, and eventually work their way up, right? Because you gotta start somewhere, right? You know how they say you gotta start somewhere, right? You gotta start from the bottom, work your way up, unless you're fortunate enough to already be at the top, right? But if you're starting at the bottom, you need the bottom opportunities, right? You need to be able to work a minimum wage job and work your way up. So that's why it's unfortunate when I still see older people, very old people, who should be retiring, right? People who clearly should be grandma and grandpas still working at McDonald's, right? And it's like, that shouldn't be the thing. When you go to McDonald's, you should just, the only person old you should see at McDonald's should be somebody in a manager position, because more likely they got managing skills, right? And they can translate that skill to any other job, but they choose to manage McDonald's, and they probably manage multiple McDonald's. They're probably day shift manager for like a couple hours during day shift on one spot, and then they move over to another spot, like maybe nighttime, for a couple hours, and make their money that way. However way that works. The point is The oldest person you should see in the McDonald's should be at least the manager. But everyone else should be, roughly, teenagers, right? Doing the cashier work, doing the cleaning, doing the fries and the burgers and all that stuff, and doing the prepping the food and packaging and doing drive-through and so forth and so forth. Learning customer service, because these are useful skills to learn, to have, especially because you could apply them to other jobs. If you decide you want to go be a janitor, at least you learn how to clean from McDonald's, right, and so forth and so forth. If you learn, how to handle do cashier work, then you can obviously upgrade to sales, right, to doing a job where you're selling something. If you do the drive-through, then you can do stuff like customer service later on. The thing is you can always go up, right, from those skills, because those are useful skills. And McDonald's is a good place for a young person to learn these different skills, because sometimes they'll move you around. Sometimes you might do a different job. I've worked at McDonald's before, and I've done burgers, flipping burgers. I've done the fries, I've done cleaning. What I didn't really do is cash register, because I made it up front that I don't do that, and they prefer to have females do that anyway. So lucky me, because I definitely didn't want to do that. Didn't have to do drive-through because it was pretty much the same thing. So mostly the females dealt with those things, but I did the assembly thing, putting burgers together and stuff like that. So I've done that. So I've done pretty much everything except for anything that has to do with talking to somebody. So I've done everything that you can do, and that's the thing, good practice, good experience, that I can translate and use later in life. But eventually, at some point, you got to do more, right? Just like if you join the military, then you learn skills from there that you can apply into your life. One of them being discipline. One of them is structure and order. Because some people tend to be pretty disorderly in their lives, which tends to lead to why some people are still in their 60s flipping burgers at McDonald's when they should be retired. They should have been in the workforce, going up, the ladder, per se, in how you make money in life. You're supposed to have been working towards the goal of retirement, because the thing is, not everyone can work until the day they die, right? Because there's only but so much work out there. There's way more people than there are jobs. So it's just, at some point, you're supposed to get to the point where you don't need to keep working. You're working to start generating money, to start generating, savings, because you're supposed to be able to save money. If you're not saving money, you're doing something wrong. You're at the wrong job then. And sometimes some people complain about their jobs and this job sucks. Yeah, so find a better one. But they'll take their day off and just have fun and stuff like that, and totally ignore the fact that, no, your day off, you should have been looking for a different job. You should have been researching. You got Google, internet. There's no excuse whatsoever. No excuse for not being able to find a better job, a better pay. But also, shouldn't always have the mindset of it being permanent. Shouldn't be trying to, spend the rest of your life in a certain job position. You're supposed to be always trying to move up, because the goal is always to eventually retire. Just like the same thing as getting in a relationship. You start off, getting to know somebody. First, somebody's a stranger. Then you get to know them. Now they're not a stranger anymore. Then you start dating, right? Being boyfriend girlfriend type thing. Then become fiancés, right? Then you get married. Then you become. So then, of course, you're husband and wife now. Then you have a kid. So now you're mother and father now. And then your kids have kids. Then you're grandparents. You see my point? You're always supposed to level up. You're always supposed to do more in your life before you die. So you should try to achieve as much as you can in life, and do everything, right, within your capabilities, right? But you should always try to do more. If your job doesn't pay enough, find a better one. Let somebody else take that job, because for somebody else, your job that doesn't pay enough does pay enough for them. for their lifestyle. You know, somebody who's young can definitely do a lot with a McDonald's paycheck, but a 60-year-old, a McDonald's paycheck can't be enough. You need more than that. And usually the reason why is because they have their retirement money, of course. So they do have retirement money, but it's not enough for them not to require a job. So then they go flip burgers or go do some type of janitorial work or something to supplement their retirement money, which means they didn't, invest it well enough. They didn't plan well enough, and that's where financial education comes in. But it's always been the information has always been available. It's been out there ever since 1995. No one has the excuse. Anybody before that has the excuse, of not knowing or not having the information, not having the financial education that most people should have now. But after 1995, once we start having internet and information, and you can share information, everybody is sharing for it. Definitely after the year 2000. When you got people on YouTube and stuff like that making videos on how to make money online, how to do this, how to do that, affiliate marketing, blah, blah, blah. ClickBank, all this stuff you be seeing on the internet. Now, people talking about investing in stock market, this and that. It's like, great. It's great to hear more of this stuff. This is the stuff that rich people been knew, right? This is the stuff that the people who actually went out and be like, you know what, I want an awesome life, started looking for this type of knowledge and information. They literally read books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Millionaire Mindset, stuff like that. They started reading books and stuff. They would start learning about money, not just, get a job, get a paycheck, and then spend your money. And then that's it. And that's all you know about money. You only know how to spend money. You don't know how money works. In society, you don't understand why we have money. You don't understand the history of money. So that right there is proof. Since you don't know that, you don't know the history of money. You don't know it's a fiat currency. You think it's valuable, but in reality it's not. Which means it can always lose its value. That's how unvaluable money is. Money technically ain't money. It's valueless, but we still treat it as if it has value. That's the whole point of fiat currency. So once you start learning these things and start learning the truth of money, truth of why the rich are the rich and the poor are the poor, then you'll start shifting your mindset. And then you'll be like, okay, I need to start thinking more like the rich people, right? So I gotta start thinking more about, different streams of income, investing, improving, learning more. The more I learn, the more I earn, right? And so forth and so forth. So this is why, if you're over 40, you definitely should be retiring. You shouldn't still be in the workforce, right? You shouldn't still be in the rat race, as they say. You shouldn't still be trying to have a good financial freedom. You should already be at the point of financial freedom and get out the workforce, so that way someone else can come on in and have their chance, take their shot, build their get their financial freedom. Because right now you're in their way, literally you're in their way, and that shouldn't be the case. We should be trying to do better. So we got stuff that you can do online, like selling on eBay. Do a little eBay business. You can do the Amazon thing, Amazon FBA. You can do ebooks and put it on Amazon. There's a lot you can do on Amazon. Recently I found out that Amazon has merch by Amazon. I actually heard that before. It's just that I forgot that, I didn't do much research on it. So recently I realized that, merch by Amazon is basically print-on-demand products, like most other sites. Because I use stuff like Zazzle and Redbubble, so I'm familiar with the print-on-demand concept. I just didn't know that Amazon themselves was doing it. It's like, okay, that's cool. Amazon is doing it. Well, that definitely sounds awesome. I'm definitely gonna, go do some research. I have a whole bunch of images I would like to upload and turn into products. So put that on Amazon, see how that works out. I always did like the idea of trying to do FBA, and someday I'll probably do FBA. But right now, all I got on Amazon is ebooks. So I got like 10 ebooks, which is good. They generate me, about $5 a month at least, at minimum. Obviously I could generate more, but at least, so that's pretty good. So with that concept, then if I want to make, you know, $10 a month, then I need 10 more ebooks. That way I have 20 ebooks generating me about 10 bucks a month. So if I want to make 100, you know, I need like what, 50 books, I think. Yeah, 10 times 10. 10 times 100. So 10 times the 10 I have. So I need 100 books? No, I make 10 bucks off of 20. Okay, that's what, 20. So 20 ebooks will make me 10 bucks. 10 times 10, so it's 20. So it's 200. Okay, 200 ebooks. So it's double how much I want to generate, right? So 200 ebooks, if I'm right. 200 ebooks, and I should be able to generate $100 a month. Which means I would need, what, about 2,000 ebooks to generate 1,000 a month? Minimum, and that's minimum. Of course I can make more, but I'm just saying minimum. So with the way things are currently going, you know, I would need about 20, not 20, about 200 ebooks. Well, my next goal after I made the first 10 ebooks is to do 10 more. I mean, to make 90 more, so I can have 100 ebooks. So it's the 10x thing. So first one ebook to get started, so that's 1, right? Times that by 10, you get 10. Times that times 10 ebooks by 10, 100. 100 times 10, 10,000, and so forth and so forth, right? But once I get to like 1,000 ebooks, that should be enough. I mean, if 100 ebooks is enough, then 100 ebooks is enough. But if I have to go to 1,000 ebooks in order to generate a good amount of money a month, and that's just from one stream, not to mention that I have other businesses and other things I'm doing that generates me money. That way it all adds up to, you know, preferably, you know, 10 grand a month or more. If I generate 100,000 a month, that'd be awesome. So that would be a big goal, right? If I get to a point where I make $1 million a month, that'd be awesome, or $1 billion a month, right? But it's not that deep. I just want to make enough money that I could easily retire. I mean, if I could, you know, put more effort and generate more revenue, I could generate more revenue. But I want to get to retirement money, right? I want to be able to make, you know, at least 2,000 at minimum a month through the different streams of income, right? Through the different things that I'm doing online that generates me money, you know, investing in stocks, dividends, right? CDs, you know, interest, payouts, you know, disbursements, you know, eBay, you know, income and so forth and so forth, and real estate income, and like, you know, rent money, or Airbnb or whatever, however way I monetize, owning homes, among other things. So the idea is always trying to find ways to generate some money. Step one is always to generate $1. First thing you got to do is make sure whatever you do makes at least $1. Because once you learn how to make $1 with it, then the next step is 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, you know, 100,000, $1 million, right? So once you learn how to make $1, you're on your way to making $1 million, right? So then it's just a matter of working and putting in the effort to always 10x, right? To always go beyond that first dollar, that first step. And that's the thing, most people don't know about the first step, which is making that $1. Sometimes somebody has like an idea, they'll be like, oh, this would be $1 million idea. Like, all right, well, when are you gonna start? And they're always making excuses. And it's like, nah, you gotta start. You gotta do one thing. If you're gonna you know, try to make money from ebooks, right, by writing books and stuff, then you gotta make the first book. The first book is important because it's the one that teaches that you learn the skills on how to write books. You'll learn the right way and the wrong way just off that first book. So you gotta do the first thing. So the first book is very important when it comes to like writing books. You gotta do it. You can't just be like, oh, I got all these ideas, that don't mean shit. Make it happen. Until you make it happen, it don't matter. It means nothing. Tons of people out there have ideas. Shit, I had the idea for Amazon and iPhones and the internet and Facebook and stuff like that, but I ain't do nothing with those ideas. I didn't make those ideas a reality. Other people did. And that's why they are financially benefiting from making those ideas a reality. Because the idea doesn't matter. The idea is not profitable. It's the execution that's profitable. So since they made it happen, they get the big bucks, right? They get the money. All I get to say is, yeah, I had that same idea. It was a good idea, clearly. And that's about it. That's all I get from that. And I definitely don't want to keep being in that situation where I have these good ideas, but then I don't have the means to execute, or I just don't execute. You know? There's a couple of investments out there that I was like, oh man, you know, shit. You know, if I had the money and the opportunity at the time to invest in Facebook when Facebook, you know, was on the stock market, yeah, you know, I would have a lot of money right now. But I didn't have the opportunity. You know, I saw the value in Facebook and, you know, and other things like that. You know, Bitcoin, I saw value in Bitcoin, but I wasn't in those environments to be part of it. Since I wasn't part of it, I wasn't able to be involved in those activities at the time. That's why I'm not benefiting from those activities. But now, I am in a better situation where I am, you know, I'm on Robinhood, you know, doing the investing thing. So I'm definitely, you know, jumping in and making sure I'm on the ground floor of a lot of new things that's happening. So when that stuff does blow up, oh, I was there. I can say, yeah, I invested in this and now I'm a millionaire. I invested in that, now I'm a millionaire. You know, that kind of stuff. So definitely try to get into as many things as you possibly can. Make as much money as you can. Always try to find ways to increase your money. I do stuff like I have this app called Attapoll app. It's a survey app. I do surveys. I get roughly like 50 cents on average per survey. Sometimes $1 per survey. The amount varies, but I'm just saying on average, I'm always trying to do 50-cent surveys or $1 surveys because I'm trying to add up to $3 real quick. So that way I can make the $3 cash out because it's a $3 minimum. Make $3 minimum, cash it out, and if I do that every day for 30 days, that's $90. That's $90 a month. Just by one app on my phone. So I literally have an app on my phone, literally generating me money. And and that money goes to my PayPal, and then I can transfer that money from my PayPal to my bank account, and then from my bank account I can transfer it to Robinhood and invest in stocks, dividend stocks specifically, so that I can make money, right? So I can generate more money, because that's the idea. You want your money to make money, money to make money, money make money. That should be your job. Your job should be to use money to make money, to do things, make decisions that generate more money. That way your ideas become profitable, not just your labor, lifting things, flipping burgers to make money. Because right now, doing any type of job where you're doing a task over and over again for a paycheck, that's you converting your time, your life into cash, into money, into a paycheck. But we don't live to work, we work to live. So that's the philosophy I go by. I work so I can live. I do what I can to make money so I can live my life. I want to live my life. I don't want to keep working. It's not logical to keep spending my life just trying to make money, when once I have money, I should be able to use it to make more money and let it grow. You know what I mean? Why keep buying an apple and eating it and throwing away the seeds when I could take the seeds, plant them, grow an apple tree, and have infinite apples? And then every apple I take the seeds and I grow it, and then I have a whole orchard of apples. So I have a whole bunch of apple trees with a whole bunch of apples that I can't eat them all, obviously, but that's good. So that's called abundance. You always want to have more than you need, and then whatever extra you have, you can share, you can sell, And that's the way it should be with money. Once you start getting your first couple of checks in life, you gotta start stacking that. Start looking towards ways to make that money grow. Not look towards ways to spend it, and definitely don't be like, all right, you know what, I'll spend all this money, this paycheck. You know why? Because I'll make another paycheck next week. No. You need to find a way to make that paycheck last. Use half of it to do the things you want to do, but the other half you better save. Don't be thinking about spending all your money as soon as you get it, because that's how you always end up broke. That's how broke people are broke. Most broke people have jobs. The thing is, they just keep spending their money. until they have no money, and then they complain that they're broke. But it's like, you're broke by choice. Broke because you use all the extra money that you didn't need for bills and food and this and that. You spend it on dumb shit. You know, you have you have all these different streaming services you're paying for: Netflix, HBO Max, Paramount Plus, or Disney Plus, and so forth and so forth. It's like, yeah, you have so many subscription services. You got a gym membership, and you probably don't even go to the gym. So you have all these things you're paying for that you're barely using. It's like, you need to cut back. Sometimes you got to cut costs. You know, start reducing the stuff that you're paying for, so that way you can have more money to yourself, so you can start saving. But ultimately, you're supposed to be saving. One thing people don't think about is they don't think about their future selves. They don't think about what's going to happen in the future. That's the whole future sight concept, right? You're supposed to look towards the future. You know, 5-10 years from now, there's a high possibility you'll still be alive. And when you are still alive 5-10 years from now, do you want to be in a situation where you're still doing what you're doing now, or you want to be in a better financial situation? Because if you want to, you know, because most people are selfish, right? So much selfish, they're even selfish to themselves. Instead of thinking, oh man, I should save this $100 because the future me could probably use that for an emergency or something. You know, the rainy day fund, as we call it. But no, you'll be selfish and be like, you know what? I want some new sneakers. It looks so cool to have some new sneakers, even though those sneakers you have are still useful. You're just like, nah, I want some new sneakers. It'd be so cool to have some new sneakers. And then you'll waste that $100 on new sneakers that you didn't need, just because you wanted to, just because you could do it. You could buy it, but it wasn't necessary. It was a waste. And then of course, you know, the shoes are gonna get dirty, damaged. They're gonna get old. And eventually, you're going to throw them away, and that's literally $100 down the drain. $100 that in the future you could probably use for a investment opportunity. Could have used it towards rent, maybe pay some bills, food. We're humans. We're always going to need. 5-10 years from now, you're definitely going to be hungry. Even if you're like, I'm not going to need the $100 in a couple months from now. You know, it's like, because I already have everything I need. Yeah, you can keep saying that, but you know you're always going to need food. Until we get to a point where we don't need to eat, sleep, and reproduce or other stuff, right? We're going to still need to do these things. So you're going to need food. So that $100 can definitely be food money. You know, most of my money does go towards food more often than anything else. But I do my best to try to cut back on anything else. You know, I discontinued my Disney Plus membership, for example, because I'm not really using it, and until we get the next series of, WandaVision, if they have, if they do another one, but until they have more stuff. I forgot, there's something else coming to Disney Plus. So once that series comes out, obviously I'll wait until the series is complete, so that I can just binge watch it. And of course, probably wait for a couple other shows to also appear, and also be that way. That 1 month membership, I can get the most out of it because I have a whole bunch of stuff I can binge watch. You get the idea. So it's just be mindful, be less wasteful with your money. Make sure your money makes money. Make sure your money does stuff. Because I'm not saying don't live your life, don't spend money. Because instead of saving money until you have $1 million, it's better. The way I do things is that I want to, instead of saving money for 5 years, trying to save up to $1 million and then spend $1 million, I'd rather within those 5 years spend $1 million. Because it's the same thing, right? $1 million is still $1 million, regardless if it's you spend that much throughout 5 years, or you save that much throughout 5 years and then spend all of it at the 5 year mark. It's still the same. $1 million is still $1 million. But I'd rather, spend that $1 million within those 5 years, living my life, than to save it and then try to live my life later on when I have it. Both ways is still good. If you could do both, even better, right? If you can save $1 million while spending $1 million, yeah, great. Then you get to double dip, right? That's a better situation, to be able to both spend $1 million in 5 years, but also save for it. My point is that you should save. Most people don't. Most people will end up spending hundreds of thousands of dollars in 5 years, living their life. But then they won't be living, doing so well afterwards. Because things can happen. They can reduce how much they're making to even be able to live that life or whatever. You have to think. You have to think long term. So you have to think about the future, and always take into account that there's going to be opportunities. Remember, just because you haven't yet have an opportunity to make millions, or you currently didn't get an opportunity to make millions, doesn't mean there won't be. Someday there will be an opportunity to make millions, and you want to be able to get in on it, right? So it makes sense to save as much money as you can, because when the opportunity presents itself for you to invest into some business, and then the business blows up in a year or two, and then bang, now you're a millionaire because of it, or a billionaire or something, because the business succeeded. Then you'll be grateful that you saved the money. The future you would be grateful that you saved the money, so that way the future you can reap the rewards of that initial investment. And that's the thing. Most people don't plan for the future. They don't think about the future. Most people don't even think about retirement, which is sad and unfortunate. It's like y'all should be thinking about retirement, because that's going to happen. You're only getting older, so for a fact you're going to retire, because you're only getting older, not younger. So, but some people use the whole you only live once type thing, right? Or as in you only have one life, so once it's over, it's over. So it's like, might as well YOLO, might as well live your life to the fullest, and not even worry about the end. Just focus on living, and not realizing that that's counterproductive, because that's what causes you to be in a situation where you're not planning for the last half of your life. Like, you should spend the first half of your life working to prepare for the last half of your life, so that way you can live a nice, comfortable end of days, as they say, right? Where the last stretch of your life before you die, you can live comfortably. You can live with stress-free and live better than you lived when you were young. So when you're young, that's when you work hard. That's when you struggle. That's when you make sacrifices. That way, when you're old, you don't have to do none of that nonsense. You don't have to work hard. You don't have to struggle. You don't have to be broke. You can live an awesome life in the future. That's what you're supposed to do. The future is supposed to be better than the past. There's a problem when your past was your best life, and then your future's just shitty and full of misery and stuff like that. Then you did it wrong. That's what happens when you're selfish at a young age and be like, I want to live my best life now, when you're supposed to live your best life when you're old. Your worst life, in comparison, when you're comparing it, your worst life should be your past, not your present, not your future. Your future and your present should be your best life. Your past should be your past. It should, because me growing up, I definitely was like, hey, I'm going through some bullshit in my youth, but it'll be worth it once I get older. Once I'm an adult and I have options, and I can make my own money instead of relying on other people, and do things my way, and I'll make better decisions than those around me, and improve my life and put myself in situations where I have everything that I could ever want. And the only time you're ever going to truly have whatever you want is in the future, not in the past. So and definitely not in the present, right? The present, you're supposed to be working towards the future, because the future is literally, minutes away, hours away, days away, weeks away, months away, years away. But it will come. Someday you will be 40, someday you will be 50, 60, and so forth. So you want to make sure that at those times, your life is way better at those times than they were before. So your best life should be in the future, not in the past.